Hi everybody, I'm Ann with Kai Dragon Gardening and Cooking Channel, and I got my little girl here with me, Wendy the Wonder Dog. She wanders all over the garden. She protects her mommy. She's a good girl. She's going to help with the video today. Today I'm going to talk to you about some mistakes that a lot of people make in their garden, and it happens to be when they're putting down raised beds. So these are raised bed gardening mistakes that you really should try to avoid. So the first thing every gardener needs to do is make a layout of kind of how you want your garden to look before you ever get started. Walk around, see where the sun is at for the most part of the day. Your plants are going to need a good 6 to 8 hours of sun. If it's going to be in an area where there's going to be a lot more sun than that, then you may need to remember that you're going to have to put up something to help you with having too much sun. So like adding shade cloth and stuff. So you want to find out where your water lines are, your gas lines, things like that before you're doing any digging or trenching or rototilling, anything like that. So it's a good idea to have somebody come out, show you where that stuff's at, so you're not hitting something that's going to be a danger to you or someone else. And get all those spots marked first thing, and then kind of figure out what you want to start out with. You can always add to your garden, like we added to the garden tremendously this year, and it probably doubled in size from what my son had it before. I wanted something that after I retired that I could come and help him with, and I guess I got a little corny with it, and we really just kind of went nuts and put a lot of raised beds down, and I'm kind of glad we did. I like the results of it and stuff, but you learn from your mistakes, and so that's what I want to talk about today. Things that I want to pass on to you, so that way when you're doing your garden, you're aware of important things that you might need to know. So know where the sun's going to be in your garden. You can go to I think it's suncalc.net, suncalc.net, and scroll around on your GPS property location. It shows where the sun will be the strongest and how many hours of sun you're going to have on your plants, and that will help you determine on whether or not the area that you picked, whether you're going to want to use any shade cloth or whether you're going to just wing it and let see how much sun is there. I mean, too much sun is not a good thing because your plants are going to suffer from sun scald and getting way too hot, and it's hard on the plants. A lot of times it can kill. Too much sun is like too much watering. I mean, none of that stuff is good for them. So check that out before you get started, to find out where you want to put raised beds. A lot of people put a few raised beds in their front yards. Some people don't. They do more on landscaping technique, and if you're going to do that, make sure that you're planting in tiers with your taller plants in the back, medium-sized plants in the middle, and your shorter plants in the front. And I'm talking about the same thing with your vegetables. Make sure you are doing this, and also You can use trellis ideas too for some of your plants, where your larger plants can protect the smaller plants. So like you can plant the indeterminate tomatoes and plant some on each side and let them grow up a trellis. That trellis is going to provide shade then for some of your other plants. So there are things to keep in mind, but know your location, know how many hours of sun you're going to get before you decide where you're going to put these beds. Know what type of watering system you plan to do. If you're not going to spend money on a drip system, like we have not put a drip system in yet, that is something that we're talking about doing for next year, at least in most of the raised bed areas. And this part behind the peppers is where most of our raised beds are, and we have beds from 1 foot tall to 3 foot tall, depending on how big they are and stuff, and you know what's comfortable to reach across and what isn't. Inside here, we have designed it to have about a 3 foot walkway around everything. I did that because the sole purpose, if I need to get in there with a wheelbarrow of dirt and stuff, I need to be able to have the room to get through there with something, or if I need a wagon or a cart or whatever, I need to be able to pull through there with bags of dirt or a dolly and stuff. I don't want it so cramped that I have to walk sideways to get through there, and then I can't get through with what I need. So leave yourself enough space so you can get around with the tools that you need for your garden. And like I said, if you're going to do hand watering or different irrigation, decide what type of future changes that you might make. I did a garden one year where I did nothing but soaker hoses, and they were great except for the areas where you had to put another hose in between the soaker hose so water wasn't just going on the ground somewhere unnecessarily. And when you're going through a drought situation, you don't want to waste any of that water. So you don't want water going anywhere that it shouldn't be going. If it's not going in the garden bed to help the plant, you don't want it going on the ground and going to waste, because you're going to pay more money for the water that you use and get penalized for it, and you don't want to have to worry about something like that happening to you. So just a lot of common sense. If you have garden hoses that have holes in them and you notice small leaks sprouting here and there, and you try to tape them up and they're still leaking, don't use them. Use them for something else. Chop them up. And, you know, like when the garden beds, these raised beds and stuff get sharp edges, chopping up old hose to put back around them, they work great for that. But don't use something that's sprouting leaks all over and it's not going to your plants and watering where you need to water. Make sure you're just not wasting water. Set up rain barrels, and you know, you can do a lot with rain barrels, 5-gallon buckets, and a cart, and you know, until you get your drip system in. And make sure, you know, if you're doing hand watering, that you do a good soak, and then you don't have to worry about watering those plants so often, because they will get used to the idea that that's how they're going to be watered. And you know, they know what they need to do to survive. And once the weather temperatures get too warm, they're going to shut down and not produce anyway. They're going to go in their protection mode. So keep all those things in mind when you're planning out your garden. And so when you're putting those raised beds down, and know what you want to plant in that particular raised bed. So it's a good idea to draw it out, figure out what it is you're going to plant and where, and the location. Your soil, when you're filling up a 3-foot high raised bed, that can be very, very costly. So it's a good idea to get a hold of an arborist, or somebody that chops up a lot of trees and stuff. There are certain types of trees that you cannot put in the ground to break down. Black walnut trees is one tree that will do harm. Nothing wants to grow around a black walnut tree because of the type of thing the tree releases into the ground and from its leaves and stuff. So black walnut is not something that you're going to put in that raised bed. There's another tree that produces these palm type leaves. I can't think of the name of the plant, but they grow rampant and you always have to pull them. They are a nuisance tree. If you're new to the channel, please like, share, and subscribe. Leave your comments below so my son Kai can answer them. He loves hearing from our friends. We need you, and we hope that you're going to keep sowing and growing with us.